The TVWAN News is proudly brought to you by BSP, our bank, our people.
Good evening, this is TV1 News. I'm Maricela Kelaton.
And I'm Tracy Pa. Join me later for sports.
In this edition, sugarcane pest monitored at Ramo Agri Industries, IRC launches data management strategy, and double warriors build on player character. The Internal Revenue Commission today launched a strategy for data management for the country's tax organization. IRC Commissioner General Sam Coim says the IRC aspires to position itself at the forefront of innovation and progress in the public sector. The launch of the Internal Revenue Commission's data management strategy marks a significant milestone in the organization's quest for excellence in tax administration. IRC Commissioner General Sam Coim says that by embracing the power of data, the IRC aspires to position themselves at the forefront of innovation and progress in the public sector.
Established as a pillar of this organization. We have a couple of pillars under our strategic vision that we have. So data-driven, to become a data-driven organization is one of those strategic pillars, and this is the data management strategy is an integral part of it. That we want to harness all the data that is housed in all the respective sources and leverage that against tax compliance.
Commissioner General Coim acknowledges the responsibility that comes with handling data, stating that IRC recognizes data protection and privacy in today's digital age. And thus, as custodian of taxpayer information, the IRC will remain committed to upholding the highest standards of data security and privacy.
Information selling is a lucrative business as well, and on the rise so in the public sector, and we need to be careful. So we are taking measured and careful approaches in the way we protect the data and in the way we share the data. So the ATO have some lessons that they are also sharing with us on how to improve and also put safeguards around the sharing of the data.
The Commissioner General emphasized that by breaking down data silos and establishing robust mechanisms for interagency cooperation, IRC can harness the collective power of data assets across various sectors. Deputy Commissioner from the Australian Taxation Office, Marek Rosinski, acknowledged the significance of the efforts by the IRC in managing its data.
You have clear thought leadership and senior sponsorship in the context of this program. Now you have a plan and path forward. These are essential building blocks of success. Now the team will turn to building this field of dreams, so to speak. The stadium of data, that various analytical plays can be executed on. It is time to build, but also the time to develop those plays early, to test the pitch of the stadium, to get early games in so the design is right for longer-term PNG needs and capabilities.
Meantime, IRC says the data management system aims to promote collaboration and data sharing among government entities. The IRC has signed 21 MOUs with key government agencies to facilitate such collaborations. Furthermore, Chief Secretary Ivan Pomaliu, in addressing the launch of the IRC's data strategy, appealed to other government agencies to develop their own data management strategies.
We don't know how many people lost jobs during COVID. We don't know how many people have got back into employment. We don't know the basic things that we should know. We have agencies that are mandated to carry data, but Even they themselves don't know what they have. Now that's a worry. Data brings quality into decision making. Data does not lie. Data provides the required focus on the important areas that we must focus on as government, as regulators, as decision makers. Data points us to the right direction. Therefore, I would urge all government agencies to recognize the significance of data-driven decision making and embark on their own data management initiatives.
The Securities Commission of PNG revoked the approval and license for the Melanesian Trustee Services Limited to act as a trustee and fund manager for the Pacific Balance Fund as of July 2023. SCPNG Chairman James Joshua said investigations on the performance on MTSL commenced on June 29, 2023, and several breaches of MTSL's judiciary duty to unite holder that had been identified. The cancellation brought exposure to the significant concerns on conflict of interest, lack of transparency, and potential disadvantages for until holders.
Pacific Balance Fund is one of the country's largest equity funds, owned by nearly 20,000 unit holders. Trustee and fund manager to PBF Melanesian Trustee Services Limited was revoked of its license and approval by the Securities Commission of PNG. SCPNG Chairman James Joshua stated that the act of cancellation was due to several breaches of MTSL's fiduciary duty to unit holder, identified in an investigation that commenced on June the 29th this year.
Saying that, for instance, like there's a strict provisions in the trust deed saying that you cannot borrow from the fund which you have as a trustee. So they borrow from it and allow the same entity becomes there's a conflict of interest there. They're borrowing within themselves, and also they haven't appointed an independent fund manager for quite a long period of time. We saw that they paid themselves hefty fees on the management fees, which doesn't go well with the best practices. So there are many that bridges they've done, but those are few ones that we stressed out. And also there's a breach in the Capital Market Act, which the Act requires trust they did to keep unit order registries.
Chairman Joshua added that various complaints by PBF unit holders and the public on the performance of MTSL over PBF and its conduct on the recently proposed Trukai share buyback arrangement prompted the Commission to do a thorough investigation.
The recent Trukai sales has formed up the public, the media, and we also received various complaints from the unit holders, the public itself, which forced us to carry out investigations. From our own investigations, we found out there are certain flaws or certain breaches in the trust deed.
The cancellation brought exposure to the significant concerns on conflict of interest, lack of transparency, and potential disadvantages for unit holders. Jasmine Irujak, TV1 News.
Meantime, Weatherman Capital Advisors Limited has been appointed as the interim trustee over the Pacific Balance Fund by the Securities Commission of PNG.
The Securities Commission of PNG has appointed Weatherman Capital Advisors Limited as the interim trustee over the Pacific Balance Fund, following the cancellation of Melanesian Trustee Services Limited as trustee and fund manager for PBF.
On that note, within the mandated powers that we have, we revoke MTSL license as a trustee, and that creates a vacuum that the fund has no someone not to have a trustee on it. It's a vacuum that instead we have invoke our powers within the Capital Market Act. We appoint Weatherman Capital. We are pleased. We know that the fund is in your capable hands. as an interim trustee, set things right, clean it up, audit it properly. So we appoint you guys as interim trustee for a period of 3 months to sort that out within the transition period of 1 month, then interim for 3 months. Through that, we give you guys regulatory guidelines or key achievements we want, key outputs from your as an interim trustee. We want you guys to conduct review on the fund itself, the investments that have undertaken by them, the unit holder registry updates, carry out an investigation, audit report on what they've invested. I'm sure there are more, the other things like
Weatherman Capital Managing Director John Kevau shared that the company is locally owned and managed by industry professionals with a wealth of knowledge and experience from other major funds in the country.
It is both an honor and a responsibility that we humbly accept and welcome, Mr. Chairman. We are fully committed to ensuring the transparent and diligent management of the fund during this interim period. And I think what we have witnessed today demonstrates the robustness of the regulatory environment in our capital markets.
Kevau stated that the challenge to all market interim participants is to ensure they perform functions diligently and prudently.
Our paramount and fundamental duty as interim trustee, Mr. Chairman, is to act in the best interest of the fund's unit holders, ensuring that their investments are safeguarded and managed prudently.
Weatherman Capital is fully licensed finance and investment company that specializes in corporate finance, investment advice, funds management, trustee services. Jasmine Irujak, TV1 News.
Under the amended Road Traffic Act 2014, provincial governments are required to sign a Memorandum of Understanding with the Road Traffic Authority to improve vital transport services. The signing gives powers to the province to regulate and run its transport functions and services.
The signing of a Memorandum of Understanding with the Road Traffic Authority will see to improve vital transport services for Milne Bay Province. The partnership between the Milne Bay Provincial Government and the Road Traffic Authority will drive proper transport services in the province under regulated functions. As outlined in the MOU, the Road Traffic Authority will delegate some functions to the provinces to empower them to perform. It took a while for the Milne Bay Provincial Administration to sign the MOU. They are happy to have finally signed, as it gives them more responsibility in running their own transport affairs. Milne Bay Transport Authority Acting Manager Monty Wagapani says the signing is a milestone government requirement they needed to meet. He said they look forward to implementing the Road Traffic Act and regulations, driver licensing, motor vehicle registrations, and passenger licenses, among others. Road Traffic Authority Chief Executive Officer Nelson Terma says by delegating the authority back to the provincial administrations, respective provinces will be able to improve land transport services and in doing so, improve service delivery. Milne Bay Governor Gordon Wesley was pleased to have signed the MOU. He said it is an important aspect in guiding the regulation and provision of transport services in the province. Susan Oreape, TV1 News.
32 trekkers from Morobe Province will be braving the elements to conduct a survey for the Leh to Indagen Kabum Road project. The men and women are from Nabak in Nawaib District, Burum in Finchafen, and Indagen in Kabum District.
32 trekkers from Morobe Province were recently transported to Suguza Gap in the Nabak hinterlands, equipped with GPS trackers to conduct social mapping and surveying for the proposed Leh to Indagen Kabung Road project. Team leader Maui Winas, a local from Indagen, said it should take them a week before they arrive at this area.
This block about people making and we play making block benefit block amas block 1,000 man meri or millions is the backside block me block backside block mountains are all get big block cold rain and volume block but still continue. So safety equipment me block simna me play tram no one block go through. Na me believe was this la walk about block plan but successful na me block bring amas na smile of face blong. Ogar a good plan and no good. An blom mi bla olim sleeping bag blom bla, all coats blom mi bla wear more safety shoes blom bla too. Mi bla olim all knife tame blom bla la clear road blom mi bla. GPS tu mi bla olim long. Mega fair asem. And plan ban tu na mi bla kam so mi bla ba make him.
The road project connecting the districts of Nawab, Finchafen, Tawai, CSC and Kabung is making progress after years of government negligence. The construction of this road is crucial considering the tragic loss of 10 lives during the 2019 Lutheran Church Centenary celebration in Indajan. The team undertaking this trek includes 3 women, young boys and an elderly man. They have volunteered to traverse the treacherous Saru range while carrying the GPS trackers. Tracy Pa, TVWAN News.
TV1 News continues when we return. Stay with us.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSP Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase Easy Pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSP branch today to register now for BSP Mobile Banking. BSP Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSP, our bank, our people.
Want to know to win a scale rice matchy pack? Scale Rice is giving away hundreds of really scale prizes for that scale weekend. Prizes include over 200 scale rice Nambi set, over 190 scale rice Eskis, 44 JBL speakers with 2 wireless mics. To enter, buy any scale rice or Ori rice product, write your name and contact details at the back of the receipt, drop in the entry box. There's 116 winners fortnightly, 16 promo locations and 4 fortnightly draws. Time to solve.
More details in store or follow us on our social pages. Terms and conditions apply.
Hiya, Mama. You wait time, but me add him special flavor.
Put in more flavor, put in more taste. Add the kakaro, get up and big smile on face. Time for Kim chicken, a great kumutu. Sip, sip, the moo, yes, magic on you.
Maggi, the taste PNG loves.
All Mama Flame is story all same.
Me say you sing flame flower long one yem. Me say me Kim Kai belong family belong me. You go more yet.
Man belong me save like him flower balls belong me what them kawa na spring onion. All pikinini belong me save like him to mas pineapple donut me save walk him lo house. Ne make kumu mix him on them cow na karamapim long flower.
Tasty hash browns.
Time is scaling one time wala harpela kai. Me save kissing more kai lo wogera toya mi tromoy one time flame flower.
You in up making more one time flame flower.
Open nets.
There's nothing more intense than this thing. I've been in racing my entire life since I was 3 or 4 years old. Anytime you get in one of these things, your life is in danger.
There's no room for error. I mean, this is life or death. I'm determined.
We travel across the country with this beast, and people just go nuts.
Delicious cross and in. Sweden find the breakthrough. Oh, wonderful finish. Get what you after. Bring it on like tiki tiki taka. Give it up, give it up. What a strike that was.
Welcome back. This year, the law and justice sector saw a significant increase in funding in the country's history of over 28% with an allotment of 401 million kina. This cementing the government's commitment to ensuring safety, peace and justice throughout the country. Minister and Attorney General Pilar Niningi, in ensuring that the funding allocated by the government is translated into tangible activities and projects, submitted 16 key result areas to the Prime Minister, all of which Prime Minister Marape endorsed. In Parliament on Tuesday, Minister Niningi announced the main highlights of his department's efforts that include commencement of the Lands Commission Act 2022, Defence Cooperation Agreement, securing restructure of the judiciary and approved funding to increase number of judges from 40 to 60, among others. Members of Parliament were then given the opportunity to voice opinions on the changes taking place in the law and order sector.
But the Department of Justice, the Department of Law Enforcing Institution, long country yumi, only Prime Minister is a very important institution. Very, very important institution. You can talk to the Billim Road, you can talk to the big development. That's what time heavy stuff long community. Now time you mean straight in display long heavy long community. And development by no come out good.
When I look at the Constitution, and I'm not a lawyer, Mr. Assistant Speaker, I have a problem where manemi wokim heavy. Constitution sa hurry up lo banisim desla man lo wokim heavy. The person who is accused of wrongdoing or is suspected of wrongdoing, the entire Constitution, M. Saigona, Sanap Backside law, protect him right law, trouble man. But when I look at the Constitution, my reading of it is that there is nothing to protect the victims. So you victim, you can wait if the justice system is slow, if the prosecution is slow, if all of these mechanisms of the state are slow, you can wait 5 years to kiss him justice. There is no justice.
The Yumi must come the system. Instead, me looks how Attorney General also looks how and review Judiciary and Legal Service Commission. And good working, but inside those changes na review Yumi must got some passing or banishing stuff where Yumi must talk someone in court. Or he must work in decision on time. Now you mean not sim court yet. He guide him or police him to work. He must got automatic system stop. So as decision comes in 3 or 2 years time, only money got heavy no stop or decision by affecting him and must put him go automatically in one nubla area or nubla committee can look away. Why is the decision delayed?
Furthermore, the Judicial and Legal Services Commission is close to finalizing the review of its business process in relation to appointment and disciplinary matters involving judges, magistrates, and constitutional office holders. This will be operationalized in August. Minister Niningi advised Parliament that the judiciary is also embarking on its infrastructure project in building modern courthouses throughout the country. An insurance policy signed between the Royal PNG Constabulary and Parnell Assurance PNG will enable easier upfront access to benefit police personnel than was previously available. Police Commissioner David Manning said the new agreement provides access to medical services and life insurance, with the policy being in force from July 31, 2023 to July 2026, at which time it will be reviewed.
The Royal PNG Constabulary assigned an insurance policy with Parnell Assurance PNG to enable upfront access to benefit police personnel. Commissioner of Police David Manning said previous insurance policies had been unfair in that treatment was delayed. He said delays in rapid access to health care is not acceptable. He said the new insurance policy overcomes difficulties, including upfront payment of medical bills in full to later seek 80 to 90% reimbursements. Manning said with the new policy, all members of the constabulary will be issued with cards with cards which they will present at affiliated medical institutions for medical treatment without being expected to pay anything upfront. He said this health insurance card concept will be the first of its kind for the police personnel to access health insurance at designated hospitals and clinics across the country. Manning said a healthy police force is an effective police force with higher dedication, but the lack of attention to health care has been a factor that undermined morale in the force. The commissioner called on all police force personnel to make use of this healthcare support that includes undergoing annual medical checks to monitor their health status. Tracy Parr, TV1 News.
A commitment to conserving the environment between communities is one of the most important deeds to provide habitat for native plants and animals and enhance ecosystem services. A conservation deed was signed between two clans from Sumgilba local level government area in the Sumka district of Medan province to protect their land and natural resources. Differences were put aside on the 2nd of August 2023 when Ameng and Munuiguin clans from Simbukanam village agreed to work together to protect their land and natural resources. Over 2,000 hectares of customary land covers the conservation deed. It is now part of an active and ongoing environment protection management area. Popular Tolai currency, the tabu shell money, was one of the famous cultural items showcased during the recent 7th Melanesian Festival of Arts in Port Vila, Vanuatu. Founder and chairman of the famous East New Britain Tabu Festival, Richard Tapil Jr., described the event as an overwhelming experience.
Founder and chairman of the famous East Britain Tabu Festival, Richard Tapil Jr., participated at the recent 7th Melanesian Festival of Arts in Port Vila, Vanuatu. He was the only solo artist from Eastern Britain to be selected as part of the PNG delegation to the festival. As a first-time participant, Tapil described the event as an overwhelming experience, especially in seeing hundreds of people visiting his tabu stall at the convention center and wanting to know more about the significance and uses of tabu.
For me, I was the only one that was selected from East New Britain province, mainly to showcase the famous East New Britain Tolai shell money, which is called the tabu, one of the most PNG currency. That's why I was selected to promote the tabu in Vanuatu. Because it is one of PNG's strongest currency that we are using today in parts of East New Britain and the New Guinea Islands.
The chairman said his main focus at the festival was to promote and market the traditional Tolai shell money currency. He said East New Britain is the only province in PNG that uses dual currency in exchange for goods and services. Mr. Tapil promoted the tabu with displays and demonstrations of tabu attire and tabu wheels commonly used in Tolai cultural ceremonies. Meantime, the annual Eastern Britain Shell Money Festival is scheduled to take place at the Malapau Beach Resort Kokopo on September 19, 2023. It will coincide with the 29th anniversary of the 1994 volcano eruptions.
I was also promoting the our local Shell Money Festival, which will be hosting next month on September 19 to commemorate the twin eruptions back in East New Britain province. That's why I was telling them that the only time that we can also promote that is during that festival, where there are a lot of activities such as traditional dances, dancing performances, where breaking of shell money will be done to the participants, and also TVWAN performances, Kinawai, that will take place, and also we have shell money to give away to the TVWANs that will be performing.
Terry Longwood, TV1 News.
There are 4 sugarcane diseases that the Ramu Research Services monitors on an annual basis. Plant pathologist Lakatom said they are always monitoring the sugarcane fields of Ramu Agri-Industries for the ratoon stunting disease, the Ramu stunt, sugarcane smut or downy mildew.
Plant pathologist Lakatom is attached with the Ramu Research Services based at Gusap in Medang Province. She looks after oil palm and sugarcane disease research, testing and the sugarcane nursery. She is one of 4 executives within the department. Her colleagues are entomologist Laurencia Kikitam, who focuses on pests, sugarcane agronomist Onsi Ure, and oil palm agronomist John Polelen. They are led by head of department Dr. Mani Light. Tom outlined that they monitor 4 diseases annually. Out of the 4, they have prioritized management for one, called the ratoon stunting disease. It is caused by a bacterium that lives in the vascular system of the cane plant and restricts its ability to transport water.
As soon as we detect that ratoon stunting disease is present in our field, we automatically recommend the field for flower out, which means the cane gets harvested, goes to the factory, and then we have to plant new cane for them. For Ramu stunt, it's a virus, and then we have sugarcane smut and downy mildews, which are fungus. So with those 3, we basically just monitor. It's an ongoing work in progress with control and management of those diseases. So when we have good seed cane in the nurseries going to commercial cane, we reduce diseases there. And that's when we actually manage the disease part in the nurseries and not in the commercial fields. Commercial fields are for sugarcane to go to the grower.
The plant pathologist pointed out that since sugarcane is a native Papua New Guinean plant, some of the pests and diseases can only be found in PNG.
And that's how Ramu stunt came in, and that's how downy mildews came in as priority pests and diseases. And that's how top shoot borer and sesame also made it in. Because they're from here. I think the only disease that we didn't have initially and came in is sugarcane smut. And that's only since 2016. With regard to growing the crop as a production system, yes, we have losses in all those parts of growing the crop. And we can basically manage everything. But when it comes to pests and diseases, the challenges are different. And the challenges are more intense because you need time to study the pest and the disease, and you need time to really bring everything together. So, which is not really ideal for us because we don't have it. As agricultural scientists, we don't have time. When something comes up, we're expected to have the answers yesterday.
Tom said pests and diseases contribute to losses for Ramu Agri-Industries. Staff at the Ramu Research Services try to minimize that as much as possible. Department head Dr. Mani Light said this is why it is important that they work closely with the National Agriculture and Quarantine Inspection Authority as well as nearby countries that grow sugarcane like Indonesia, Australia, the Philippines and Fiji. The sharing of information is necessary in order to be up to date with information on pests and diseases. Salome Vincent, TVWAN News.
And now the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.2790 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our kina was buying $0.2715 US, $0.4124 Australian dollars, $0.2402 euro, and 38.54 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold and crude oil closed higher. The rest closed the day lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, ASX closed lower, and all ordinaries closed lower as well. You're watching TV1 News. We'll be back with news from around the region after the break.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSB Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase Easy Pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSB branch today to register now for BSB Mobile Banking. BSB Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSB, our bank, our people.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she. But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SB Lager, Bunyamyumi.
From the rich soils of the highlands, the finest coffee has been grown by generations of Papua New Guineans. Expertly blended and roasted with over 80 years of experience, making the finest cup of Nescafe New Guinea blend. PNG's own coffee.
Hardware House is more than just a store. It is where quality meets affordability, where culture is proudly celebrated. Spanning 9 provinces, we pride ourselves in offering top-notch customer support and services. We're more than just a store. We're more than a brand. We are Hardware House.
A quick favorite meal for the day does feel good. Snacks noodles is my choice for a simple meal. It is easy to prepare and fast to cook. And with a touch of flavor and ingredients, quality noodles that can be cooked and enjoyed in many different ways. You see, my whole family loves it. It's made here in PNG and comes in different packed sizes. Snacks noodles, tastier but you like it more.
Chef Scott Laseth is cooking up the world's creepiest critters.
You with me? No.
Iguana, hagfish, and wild boar are just some of the items in this season's menu.
Let's eat. And eat. And eat. It's nothing like you've had anywhere.
Hey, dead meat!
Dead meat. An all-new season. Coming soon on Outdoor.
Chase. There it is. Goes to Saab. Saab with the flick. The jumper from Carlo. What a try! It is a military stylized operation. They just pile up the pressure. Giddy up. Oh my God, the Panthers. He's there again. Right at top.
We came here to fight.
Former champion Manny Rodriguez,
Still one of the best in the world,
is determined to reclaim his spot at the top of the division against red-hot Melvin Lopez.
Rodriguez versus Lopez, live August 13th on Fight Sport.
Welcome back in regional news. First Nations artists and fashion designers from across the country have brought culture to the catwalk at the 8th annual Country to Culture fashion show in Darwin. The event is helping to launch careers by helping designers cut through in a competitive industry.
A runway for emerging Indigenous leaders in fashion making strides in the industry. Country to Couture now in its 8th year and bigger than ever before. A national platform for artists like Kidja woman Rowena Morgan returning after a 2021 debut.
It's like hard to describe because there's lots of mixed feelings as an artist because it's just that next level. Yeah, so you're feeling humbled but passionate as well.
A record 22 collections gracing the runway in last night's sellout show in Darwin, drawing in artists from diverse communities from Gumbaynggirr country in New South Wales to the Yawuru Nation in the Kimberley. an opportunity for art centres to celebrate the legacies of artists who've passed on.
We always feel connected to them, like, you know, that we get little signs around the art centre that indicate, yeah, they're still with us.
With cross-generational fashion collaboration helping culture to thrive.
I come from a family that was part of the stolen generation, but it helps me learn more about my culture more. So it's really getting that time to connect and learn about the different stories and the families that hits home.
Setting the pace for stellar future careers.
It's really important for the Indigenous fashion industry as it's still emerging and a lot of people are wanting to get into it, but they don't know how.
I'd like to continue on making clothes and teaching people how to make clothes and maybe a bit of modelling.
Sowing the seeds for future success.
Pacific Island economies are dealing with a high inflation rate and high national debt on the back of a post-COVID-19 recovery rate. World Bank economists say beefing up social security measures will be key to balancing the impact. They are advising Pacific governments to increase social support to help individuals deal with persistently high inflation. Meanwhile, uncertainty about global commodity price movements, geopolitical tensions, slower growth among major trading partners, and the region's vulnerability to natural disasters pose downside risk to the Pacific economy recovery. The Yes movement for the Voice to Parliament is ramping up its grassroots campaigning in Sydney. Supporters have begun spreading their message at community meetings, door knocking in the suburbs and blitzing local train stations.
It's boots on the ground for the Yes campaign in Sydney. Volunteers urging commuters to vote for an Indigenous voice to Parliament.
I think the Aborigines have been downtrodden for years. There's a chance of them giving a bit of advice as to what they would like their outcome to be.
Not all are convinced.
Well, they should be treated like anybody else in the country. You know, they represent about 3% of our population, and it almost seems like 99% of our focus is on those 3%.
Prominent Yes campaigner Thomas Mayo is in Western Sydney, rallying support amongst Catholic school teachers. He recounted a century-long history of defunct Indigenous advisory bodies vulnerable to the whims of governments of the day.
All of these representative bodies were silenced. And in these early days especially, they were silenced through tactics of intimidation.
He argued a voice enshrined in the Constitution would mean First Nations people are more accountable for its outcomes.
When we have power over our destiny, our children will flourish, they will walk into worlds, and their culture will be a gift to their country.
I think there's a lot of people who are, still yet to make up their mind, and they're looking for more information.
So what would really be good to hear it from the voices of those who know, and to really become informed and have a well thought out response when the referendum hits, hopefully at the end of the year.
About a third of all votes in this referendum will be cast in New South Wales, but poll after poll has shown a steady decline in support for the Yes case. It means that the stakes are now higher than ever, because if this referendum fails, the Prime Minister has said there's not likely to be another in our lifetime.
I agree with Albanese. There's no going back now. Let's take it to the Australian people and have our faith in the Australian public to support this.
A faith he hopes will be reciprocated by voters who are yet to make up their minds.
Forum Chair and Cook Islands Prime Minister Mark Brown says the 2 days Forum Economic Ministers meeting that began today will provide them with a valuable platform to collaborate, share experiences and develop strategies that will foster inclusive, sustainable economic growth in the region. Brown said the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic has no doubt scarred our small islands' economies. The Forum Chair said as ministers consider and deliberate on key economic issues facing the region over the next 2 days, he reminded them not to forget the importance of inclusivity, recognizing the uniqueness of the Pacific way of doing things that are mutually respectful, inclusive, consultative, and allows for compromises. Unions are warning frontline health workers in New South Wales won't hang around if the state government can come up with a better wage offer.
The boss of the Health Services Union, Gerard Hayes, says workers will leave New South Wales for other states if the government doesn't come up with a better pay offer. He says it's a competitive market and frontline workers like paramedics will go to states like Queensland where the pay conditions are $10,000 higher for the same job. At the moment, the Health Services Union is undertaking industrial action. Their members are refusing to be on standby for some major sporting events. The union says that the government has failed to deliver on some major election promises like fixing the worker shortage and increasing their pay. And it's not just the Health Services Union who aren't happy with the government. The Teachers Federation is also in a major stoush with the Minns government. They've accused Chris Minns, the Premier, of walking away from a deal 3 months in the making that would have seen some teachers in New South Wales become the best paid in the country. Under that deal, starting teacher salaries would increase by about $10,000. And yesterday at Griffith Airport, the Premier was faced with a small group of protesters who were teachers who were protesting him while he was on the tarmac. And the Teachers Federation President Angelo Gabrielatos labelled the government's actions an act of betrayal and a kick in the guts. But the Premier, Chris Minns, says negotiations with the union were still underway and that he's confident they'll be able to come up with an agreement. He says that the government has reached agreements with some of the other unions like the Nurses and Midwives Association.
You're watching TV1 News. Sports is next with Tracy. Stay tuned.
It's in the highs and in the lows. It's in the big things and the small things too. It's hard to put into words, but you'll know it when you see it. Terrain Tamer, when quality counts.
The Planet Shakers Band is returning to Port Moresby. Join us at the Believe Next Gen and Family Fun Day events on the 25th and the 26th of August at Sir John Guy's Indoor Stadium. It will be 2 days of fun with live music for the whole family. Tickets are now available at Vision City. We'll see you there.
How would you describe your mother?
My mom is beautiful.
She is strong like the woman.
I love my mom because she always takes care of me.
My mom, she's so patient and loving. I feel she's always around.
Caring. She works so hard and always wants the best for me.
She's soft like her love.
My mom is everything, and I don't know what I'd do without her.
Softland, fragrance of a mother's love.
Australia's favorite chef is taking you around the world to meet amazing people.
Teach me how to make this one.
Experience delicious food.
Bon appetit.
And discover the most incredible flavors.
Yum. Nice.
This is a culinary expedition on a budget.
50 rupees. That's a deal. Whoa.
Cheers. Around the world with Mano Fidel. A brand new series coming soon on Outdoor.
Well, folks, after literally years of negotiation between the fan and the management of Steve Menzies, we have secured the great man for the show. Welcome to the fan.
This is all going through my head, and then all of a sudden he passes it back. Oh, my God.
Today we have enlisted the help of Panthers co-captain and superstar halfback.
When you've kicked a ball, you usually know, and especially on the chip kicks, I usually know.
Thanks to Nathan Cleary, invaluable insight for the fans out there, for the kids out there.
looking at the judge, the jury, and the executioner right now.
Welcome back. The Koyari Erie Water PNG Double Warriors Rugby League Club is not just mentoring young rugby league players to be better footballers, but to build good character with strong Christian principles. The club has taken on the new approach through its newly elected executive, led by President and former Port Moresby Brothers legend Robert Hakunai.
The power of praying is key to molding and shaping our next generation to be better and God-fearing rugby league players. At the recent 50,000 kina check presentation to the Koyari Hiri Double Warriors Club by Water PNG, President Robert Hakunai spoke earnestly about the club's colourful history and how they are mobilizing to build and transform the club through prayer.
We, the Koyari Hiri Water PNG Double Warriors, we are a playing club. At our training Monday to Thursday, 4:30 to 6 o'clock, after trainings we always pray. We put God first. Before games, on the weekends, we pray first. After games, whether win or lose, we pray. And when we lose, we thank God for His love and protection, and we ask God for forgiveness, because rugby league is a high-pressure body contact game. So we fight, we swear, and all this, so we ask for forgiveness. Because the bottom line is that we want to have a good, happy family here on earth. And when Jesus comes, we want to go to heaven all together.
The President was also pleased to announce that the club is now owned by the Koyari Hiri District Administration following a DDA decision to run it under the district's Youth Development Program. An elated Hakunai acknowledged Koyari Hiri MP Keith Hidhu for his passion, vision and foresight to mobilize youths in the district through sports and other sectors as well.
So this club is owned by the district. It's owned by the people of Koyari Hiri. And this is the first of its kind in Papua New Guinea. We have a young leader. He's passionate about supporting youths, young men and women. And Papua New Guinea and the world have seen yesterday, he sent 26 young men and women down to New South Wales for labor mobility to earn a few dollars, not kina. The young leader is so compassionate. This year, towards the end of the year, he will organize games in the 3 wards in our electorate to source players to participate in the Koyari League. Up there with our brothers, Albert Koyari, and also we Double Warriors will go and recruit from them.
The Warriors president revealed that their next big plan is to have a team in the Digital Action Mobile Cup by 2026. Hakunai is confident they have the backing and wealth of raw talents to achieve this. Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
Promising talents from a Port Moresby School soccer competition will travel down to Australia next month. The team will represent the U12 division of the East Coast Football Club soccer competition and academy that hosts its matches at the Sir John Guy Sports Precinct every Sunday. The competition is a collaboration between ECFC stakeholders and the PNG Sports Foundation's Go Rural to Go Global strategy with a focus on its Go Global aspect. Competition manager Willie Vira stated that from a talent pool of 28 promising talents, a trial will be held between the possibles and probables to select a final traveling squad of 16. The team of 16 will comprise 8 females and 8 males. The competition will be held in Australia from September 21st to 25th this year. The Kokoda Festival recently transformed into a soccer spectacle reminiscing of the FIFA World Cup. The event aimed to promote Olympic values and featured a glamping soccer tournament, ultimately won by Team Excellence. Attendees enjoyed 14 intense matches and standout players received FIFA women's soccer balls and Olympic shirts. The festival also celebrated diverse athletics like Usain, Loan and Miriam Lola Ilupu. highlighting sports' impact on various disciplines. Genevieve Nelson, CEO of KTF, emphasized the event's significance in fostering health education through the Kicks for Kokoda program. Supported by the Australian government, the program focuses on border sport development and gender equity in collaboration with the PNG Olympic Committee and grassroots soccer. A brand new $8 million netball facility in Melbourne's northeast that was officially opened nearly a year ago but still hasn't hosted a single game. The outdoor courts are the biggest netball facility in the city of Yarra, and even though there are teams ready to play on them, a council permit for landscaping work is what's holding up the first centre pass.
8 competition-grade netball courts with lights and a pavilion. They've been empty for nearly a year.
It's a mess. Yeah, it really is a bit of a mess.
Frustrating, to say the least. This has been sitting here for a year now, almost a year completed, and no one has stepped foot on it to play a game of netball. So it's just disappointing. If it was a football oval, it'd be well and truly used by now.
The local Netball Association has more than 1,000 members who should be playing here. In the meantime, they're playing on just 4 courts in Richmond.
We should have a full Saturday competition running from 8 o'clock until 5 o'clock, and it should be a completely used facility.
This is the only 8-court facility in the city of Yarra.
We get inquiries from new families every week, so there are a number of girls and boys who are wanting to play netball, and we can't accommodate them.
What's holding it up is these mounds of dirt. The landowner, Parks Victoria, first applied for a landscaping permit from the council in May last year. The council wanted more information before they approved the permit last month.
We've planned and cancelled events on multiple occasions at that site because it's just not safe.
Now the council's approved the permit, Parks Victoria can find a contractor to get started on the landscaping work. They expect the courts to be open in the next few months. In a statement, Yarra Council said at no stage had it delayed the project.
NRL Round 24 kicks off this Thursday with the Sea Eagles versus Panthers. The other big games this week, including Broncos versus Hills and Storms versus Riders, as the playoffs rapid approach.
The Panthers are the best team in the league and are likely to continue to prove that on Thursday. After putting on a clinic when beating the Storm 26-6 last week, they now face the struggling Manly Seagulls, who are out of playoff contention. Friday night, the Sharks haven't been the easiest team to follow recently, but they should have too much power for the Titans. Credit goes to the Titans for sticking with the Warriors last week, despite being a man down for 50 minutes of the game. However, the Sharks have finals football on the horizon and should come out on the attack. Game 2 Friday night, the red-hot Broncos looking unstoppable. If anything, Browns proved far too good for the Cowboys last week, and that form should carry off against the Eels, who struggled to beat the Dragons despite leading 10-0 after 10 minutes. The Dragons played well enough to beat the Eels last week, but they didn't take their opportunities in the second half. That loss could have a flow-on effect against Rabbitohs, who are due for a big performance before the playoff starts. Tigers-Warriors. It's a home game for the Tigers, but the Warriors play in front of a sold-out crowd in Hamilton. They didn't look overly good against the Titans last week, but they won't need to improve much to beat the worst team in the competition. Playoff footy is all but out of equation for the Roosters and Dolphins, but there is still some mathematical chance for the Roosters. Chooks are expected to come out firing against the Dolphins, who were brave against Newcastle, but they ultimately lost. The Storm were a bit of a shell-shocked when losing to the Panthers last week, but they really lost 2 on the bounce. That's good news for the Raiders, who are gripping on to top 8 sport. Next, the Knights overcame some barriers to win last week, which holds them in good stead against the Bulldogs. Despite having a decent roster, the Dogs are designed to fail. They are 15th on the ladder, and given the Knights being in playoff contention, that should be a one-sided game. Terry Longwood, TVWAN Sports.
That ends the sports segment. Here is the weather for the next 24 hours.
This has been another edition of TV1 News. I'm Maricela Calaton.
And I'm Tracy Pa. Bye for now.
The TV1 News was proudly brought to you by
BSP, our bank, our people.